Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and hello ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Accounting Society Weekly Forum. I'm Muhammad Shafiq bin Zulkifli. I will be your moderator for today's forum. As usual, for today's forum, we will discuss on the latest case study regarding the reason of the fall of Apple's share price despite its spectacular earnings record and how it is related to efficient market hypothesis theory. We will see whether market is really efficient or not. First of all, let me introduce you our panels for today's forum. We have invited two panels for today's forum to discuss this topic with me. Firstly, we have Ms. Chui Ming as our first panel. She is a final year accounting student from University Science Malaysia. Hello, Ms. Chui Ming. Thank you for joining us. How are you today, Ms. Chui Ming?
Hi, Mr. Shafiq and Ms. Danielle. Yes, I'm good. Thank you for inviting me as a panel for today's forum. I'm very excited to discuss today's topic with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chui Ming. Yes, I'm also very excited to discuss today's topic. Next, we also invited an international student from China to join today's forum. We have Ms. Ta Yao as our second panel. She's also a final year accounting student from University Science Malaysia. Hi, Ms. Ta Yao. Thank you for joining us today, all the way from China. How are you today, Ms. Ta Yao?
Hi, Mr. Shafiq and Ms. Trimi. I'm good. Hello, everyone. I am Tang Yao. I'm very glad to be one of the panelists for today's forum. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Ta Yao. Yes, I'm also very glad to have you and Ms. Chui Ming as our panelists today. I hope today's forum can give a lot of advantage to us and also to the audience. All right, first thing first, let's watch the prepared video which briefly summarizes the case study that we want to discuss for today's forum. Enjoy.
Over the past year, investors have driven up the value of Apple from around $1 trillion to nearly $2.4 trillion, which is the highest ever for a public company. On January 2021, Apple announced that they broke its own revenue record of $111.4 billion. The record is 21% higher than the last year's revenue, and the amount also exceeds $8 billion of what analysts had expected, which results in higher expectations. However, after posting all of the record results, Apple's share is down more than 3%, which equals to almost $18 billion. This news has grabbed the headlines compared to struggling companies like GameStop, AMC Entertainment, and BlackBerry in the recent days. Part of the problem was that CEO Tim Cook and CFO Luca Maestri cited the COVID pandemic and decided not to provide the kind of precise revenue forecast for the quarter starting 2021 that it did before the pandemic. Maestri also stated that Apple's wearables and accessories would decelerate and that business was particularly strong in 2020. Another issue is that Apple's net big move is not yet visible to outsiders. Reports suggest that the company is working on electric cars and virtual reality gear, each of which could open another significant market for CEO Cook and his team to conquer over the next decade. However, CEO Cook did not give anything away regarding Apple's net big move during a conference call, and he chose not to comment anything on this matter during an interview. In this forum, we will discuss why Apple's share price went down despite its spectacular earnings record and is it related to efficient market hypothesis theory.
All right.
Over the past
I hope all the audience can understand the content of the video and can follow our today's forum. If the audience have any question, you can type in the chat box and we will try our best to answer your questions. Thank you. Okay, firstly, I would like to ask Ms. Chui Ming, can you explain to us why the Apple's share price went down despite its spectacular earning record, and is it related with efficient market hypothesis theory?
Alright, Mr. Shafiq. First things first, we must know what is efficient market hypothesis theory. Efficient market hypothesis is an investment theory in which the share price always adjusts and reflects based on the available information to the investor. According to this theory, all the information is available to all the investors in the stock market. To be more precise, in this theory, we can see how the stock price reflects to the available information, and we must assume that all the investors have all the information about the stock. This is because the information play an important role in this theory. Based on the efficient market hypothesis theory, I can say the negative information or the bad news is the reason why the Apple share price went down, although Apple has recorded a huge revenue. Based on the case, CEO Tim Cook decided not to provide revenue forecast for the following quarter, and the investors refer this as negative information, which will lead to all of the fall of the Apple share price according to the efficient market hypothesis theory.
Thank you, Ms. Chu Min. From my understanding, under efficient market hypothesis theory, it has one main assumption, which is the market is always efficient and all the information is available to all investors. The fall of Apple share price is because of bad news or negative information received by the investors in the stock market. Okay, next, how about you, Ms. Tang Yao? What do you think the reason of the fall of the Apple's share price?
Okay, Mr. Shafi, for me, I think the demand and the supply in the stock market can affect the share price. When the demand for shares exceeds supply, which means the buyers are more than sellers, the prices of shares will increase. However, when the demand is less than supply or the buyers are less than sellers, the share price will decrease. According to efficient market hypothesis theory, the demand and the supply of a stock is based on the information that will influence the overall stock price. As what Ms. Tremi has stated before, CEO Tim Cook decided not to provide the revenue forecast for the following quarter, and the investors reflect this as negative information. The market decided to sell their Apple stocks even though the revenue was doing far beyond expected. This will increase the supply of Apple share in the market, which will lead in decrease of the price.
Alright, thank you, Ms. Tang Yao, for your explanation. So we can say that the demand and supply in the stock market can also affect the up and down of the share price. I think I would like to add another factor which can affect the fall of Apple's share price, which is the economy. As we know, currently we are facing in the COVID-19 pandemic, and we can see the fluctuation of the global economy. CFO Luca Maestri also stated in the case that the sale of Apple wearables and accessories were declined due to this pandemic. CEO could also explain that the sales of iPad and MacBook have contributed towards the improvement of the Apple sales as people need to work and learn from home. However, in the long run, is it possible for Apple to survive with the fluctuating economy? So we can see investors were actually reacting to this information, and their reaction can be reflected on the share price. Okay, let's move to the next question. As we know, there are three forms of inefficient market hypothesis theory, which are weak, semi-strong, and strong. Ms. Chui Ming, can you explain to us about these three forms?
Sure, Mr. Shafiq. The three forms of efficient market hypothesis are strong, semi-strong, and weak. Firstly, the weak form of efficient market hypothesis is based on the past information and it is influenced by the historical data. The example of weak form of efficient market hypothesis is a financial statement of the company, and this past information cannot provide accurate result to the investors. Next, semi-strong form of efficient market hypothesis is the information is available to the public, whether through newspaper, company announcement, or websites. When the news is released to the public, the stock price will instantly react to the news as the trader might sell or buy the share stock. Finally, the strong form of efficient market hypothesis provides all public and private information is completely accounted into the current stock price. However, it is hard to get access to the company insider information.
Thank you, Ms. Chu Min, for the detailed explanation of the three efficient market hypothesis forms. Okay, let us Ms. Tang Yao. From your opinion, the fall of Apple's share price is according to which efficient market hypothesis form and, and how it is related?
Okay, from my opinion, the fall of Apple's share price is according to same strong form of efficient market hypothesis theory. The fall of Apple's share price is because of CEO Tim Cook decided not to disclose any future plan, such as electric cars and virtual reality gear to the public. When this news is released to the public, the investors reflect this news as negative information, and it will lead to fall in the Apple's share price. CEO Cook's decision for not disclose any future plan is an example of material non-public information. Material non-public information is the corporate news or information that has not yet been made public, and it do reflect on the share price.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Tang Yao, for your opinion. So we can say the fall of Apple's share price is according to semi-strong form of the efficient market hypothesis theory. Okay, we have one question in the chat box. The question is from Mr. Amiro Ame. He asks, is it possible for investors to purchase undervalued stock or sell stock for inflated price? Because some investors have more skills at analyzing public information than others. Okay, I think I can answer his question. Based on the efficient market hypothesis theory, the stock are always traded at fair value because the market incorporate all the information into the current share price. The stock price reflect all the available information, therefore stocks trade at the fairest value. Thus, the theory of efficient market hypothesis explains that it is impossible for investors to either purchase undervalued stock or sell overpriced stock for extra profit, since stocks are always traded at their fair market value. I hope that can answer your question, Mr. Amirul. Okay, our earlier discussion, we discussed about the efficient market hypothesis theory, and we have one main assumption, which is the market is always efficient because all the information is available to all investors. So next, I want to focus on whether the market is really efficient enough. Because there is a question in the chat box, the question is from Ms. Jui. Under efficient market hypothesis theory, we know all the information is available to all investors. She asks, how about if the information is interpreted differently by different investors? So I would like to ask Ms. Chui Ming regarding this matter.
Alright, Mr. Shafiq, this is deniable. Different investors will have a different interpretation about the information available to them because not all the information is important and useful to investors. I think the information is so complex because the individuals do not think the same way. For example, from the case, CEO Tim Cook decided not to disclose any future plans such as electric cars and virtual reality gears to the public. Some investors will find this information is useful and interpret it as a good news and it can increase the Apple's profit. But some investors will interpret it as a bad news because it can be very risky for Apple to involve with the new business as the economy is still not stable. However, there are some of the investors will find this information is not important and not useful for all of them. So we can see, although the efficient market hypothesis theory stated that all the information is available to all the investors in the stock market, and we must assume that all the investors have the same information about the stock, but in the reality, they can interpret the information differently.
Thank you, Ms. Chui Ming, for your answer. Yes, I do agree. Different investors will have different interpretation and not all the information is important and useful to investors. How about you, Ms. Tang Yao? Do you think market is always efficient?
Okay, from my opinion, although all the information is available to all investors according to efficient market hypothesis theory, but in reality there is the existence of information asymmetry in the market. Scott stated that information asymmetry is some parties to business transactions may have an information advantage over other parties. When one party has more information over other party, they are going to use that information advantage to make a decision that is more favorable to them. Existence of information asymmetry can result in the bias as the investors who have a better access to that information will use that information for his or her personal interest. The person who can obtain the information faster than other will able to react faster to make a decision whether to buy or to sell stocks. When one party has more information over other party, this is actually opposite the efficient market hypothesis theory.
Alright, thank you, Ms. Tang Yao, for explaining about the information asymmetry. Yes, I am agree that information asymmetry can exist in the market and it can lead to the market biases. Alright, to conclude today's forum, we have discussed that the fall of the Apple's share price can be explained using the efficient market hypothesis theory. We can see how the news or the information perceived by the investors, the supply and the demand in the stock market and the overall economy can make the share price move using the efficient market hypothesis theory. Under this theory, it has one main assumption, which is the market is always efficient and all the information is available to all investors. However, to some extent, we also discussed that the market is not always efficient as the information in the market can be interpreted differently by the different investors and the information asymmetry also may exist in the market. Thank you, Ms. Chu Min and Ms. Tang Yao for your time, and I hope all of us can get a lot of inputs from today's forum session. See you on the next week forum on the same day and time. Thank you.
Thank you as well.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.